This week in sports, the 2020 expanded playoffs begin next week. In the AFC, the Super Bowl favorite Kansas City Chiefs are the number one seed and will enjoy being the only team in the AFC with a bye in the wild card round. Holding the number 2 seed are the scary good Bills, who smoked the Miami Dolphins 56-26. That loss eliminated the Dolphins from the playoffs. The fraudulent Steelers, who lost to the Cleveland Browns and have now lost 4 out of the last 5 games, hang on to the number 3 seed and will face the COVID-19 riddled number 7 seed Browns once again this week. It is the first time since 2002 that the Browns are part of the NFL playoffs. The Titans held on to the number 4 seed. The Ravens ended up with the number 5 seed, and the Colts had their playoff dreams come true. They are the number 6 seed. In the NFC, the Packers held on to the number 1 seed and the first round bye. Aaron Rodgers had another impressive outing. Rodgers threw for 240 yards and 4 touchdowns and an obliteration of the Chicago Bears. That performance all but locks up the MVP title for Aaron Rodgers. The Saints, behind a sneaky good defense, keep the number 2 seed. The Seahawks are the number 3 seed, finishing out the year with a record of 12-4. And after a wild ride, Alex Smith is back in the playoffs. The 7-9 Washington football team clinched the NFC East Division title, making them the number 4 seed. Despite a non-contact injury to Mike Evans, the Tom Brady-led Buccaneers stomped out the Falcons in Week 17 and are the number 5 seed this playoff season. Finally, the Rams and Bears round out the NFL playoff teams. For the teams that missed the playoffs, the bloodbath commenced. The New York Jets thankfully fired head coach Adam Gase. The Jacksonville Jaguars fired GM Dave Caldwell and head coach Doug Marrone. And the Los Angeles Chargers fired head coach Anthony Lynn. Elsewhere in sports, the Pro Football Hall of Fame unveiled its list of 15 modern-era finalists for the 2021 class. That list includes Peyton Manning, Calvin Johnson, Reggie Wayne, and Richard Seymour. The 2020 Heisman Trophy Award was awarded to Alabama's star wide receiver Devonta Smith. He finished the season with 105 catches, 1,641 receiving yards, and 20 touchdowns in 10 games. He becomes the third wide receiver to win the award and the first since 1991. It's just over a week from the start of the NHL season. Pittsburgh, Philadelphia, Montreal, Toronto, Vancouver, Edmonton, St. Louis, and Colorado all start their NHL season next week. Luka Doncic became the fourth fastest NBA player to reach 1,000 points, 1,000 rebounds, and 1,000 assists in the history of the league. And finally, Golden State Warriors star guard Stephen Curry exploded for a career-high 62 points and a 137-122 win over the Portland Trailblazers. This is the Under.500 podcast.
All right, everybody. Welcome back into the Under.500 podcast. I am Tyler. I am joined by my 2 other hosts. Aaron, what's up with you, man? How you doing today?
I'm doing good, Doncic.
What'd I screw up this week? Doncic? I meant to say Doncic.
Yeah,
I just
It's all right, man.
I can't laugh, but like I would say the best part is like I think you knew how to pronounce it. And you
I wrote it out the right way.
This
is
is like
time in a row.
Jacob Ware, by the way.
What's going on? Sorry, guys. I had to jump in the rag session before I can even be introduced again.
Hey, I said Cleveland Browns the first time, right? Like as we go back and listen to this, I did say Cleveland Browns, right?
Yeah, you're good.
Okay,
Yeah,
you're fine.
I would hope so.
Anyway, so yeah.
I knew I screwed it up, and then the rest of that read was just a fumbling mess.
That was funny. That was funny.
So anyways, we are
I'm doing good, Tyler.
Good. I'm glad. We are joined by a guest this week, a repeat guest for the second time on the podcast. Jacob Ware, what's up, my man? How you doing?
Guys, what is going on? What a wonderful time to be alive as we talk about everything that's wonderful because sports is clicking. And my dog is barking.
Yeah.
He agreed.
He agrees. He said amen and a women. Eric, how you doing today?
You look amazing.
Thank
I'm
you,
doing
man.
pretty
I
good.
appreciate it. I appreciate
Eric
that.
looks good too. You look good.
What-
Everybody's
what,
looking good today.
Now, for those of you who are listening and not watching, Eric's wearing a very special headpiece right now.
It's Taco Tuesday, baby.
Ooh.
Come on.
Tacos on there?
There's tacos. It's a taco truck with tacos. Come on now.
Ooh, Taco Tuesday.
Put your
I
forehead
like
to the screen for the people, Eric. Put your
Yeah.
forehead to the screen. Oh, there it is.
It's for those of you who aren't watching, it's very different. It's
It's
very
vibrant.
cool looking.
I love it.
I'm surprised. Now I'm gonna say this, and I know this is completely off the record. But you guys didn't mention the Eagle mishap this past weekend.
Oh, we'll
Yeah,
get to
And
it.
what
that
has
was,
come out of that?
We'll talk about that.
Okay,
Not
okay.
yet. We haven't talked about it yet.
All right.
that was ridiculous, though. Oh
I'm-
goodness.
I think we got a good one in store today, boys.
Yeah, I do
I
too.
think so too, man.
So let me start it off here this week with another week of sports trivia.
Ooh.
I want to ask you guys just 3 questions here. Last time this went pretty well, I think. So we'll try it
Oh, it's gonna
again.
go- I'm gonna do terrible.
We'll try it again here. So my first question to you guys is: who is the only person in NBA history to be named MVP, Coach of the Year, and Executive of the Year?
Oh, I know. I think I know. This.
What is Bill Russell?
Yeah.
What is no?
Isn't it Larry Bird?
It is Larry Bird.
Really?
Bostonian gets schooled by Ohio
I didn't know he got executive.
Yeah,
Executive
he
of the
I
Year.
forget who he was over, but as soon as he got out of coaching, he went into like an executive role.
Yeah, well, is he still with the Pacers? I think he's still he's right now. I think he's an executive within the Pacers right now, but they
He might
haven't
be.
really been relevant.
Let's
Yeah,
see
well,
what
that's true.
Wikipedia
Oh
says.
man, I gotta look it up now.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
let's
didn't know
check it.
that he got exec of the year.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm sure it's true.
He
'cause,
was
I mean,
coach of the Pacers from '97 to 2000. So that one, he won executive of the year in 2012.
was that with the Pacers?
It was indeed. I don't know, but I'm gonna assume yes.
Yeah, he's still in there too.
Yeah, he's still with the
on
Pacers.
executive level.
He stepped down in 2017.
Oh, okay.
He still worked with them as like an advisor, but
Yeah,
he's
I
no
knew he was
longer
still
an
doing
executive.
something.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, 2012. That makes sense because that's when they did go from nothing to being a playoff team
Mm.
around then. So I'll take it. Sorry, that went too long, Tyler.
No, it's okay. It's okay. Just more Larry Bird clout. I love it. So what was this is our second question. What was the first sport to be televised in the United States?
Oh crap! This could be anything. The first sport to be
I-
televised. What
I-
year? Can you give us the year?
I was going to say my first hint's going to be the year, and it was 1939.
Okay.
I mean, to me, the
1939.
obvious answer is baseball, but that
Yeah,
could
that's
be
what
wrong.
I'm thinking.
I'm gonna say basketball.
Okay. What do we got, Aaron?
I don't know. I think it's baseball. That was the most popular then.
Okay.
If Jacob wins this, I'm logging out.
It's baseball.
See, I wanted to
Okay,
say
alright.
baseball, but I
But-
thought it was too obvious.
A little caveat for that is it was not MLB baseball. It was college baseball.
Really?
It
It was
was.
probably appreciated a lot more back then than it is today.
Yes, very much so. Okay.
I'm sure.
And our last question, I kind of want to tell Jacob he's not allowed to answer, but who leads the NFL in all-time rushing yards?
Oh, that's an easy one. It's Emmett Smith.
Good
Yeah, I'm
job.
gonna go with Emmett Smith.
And Eric's like, yeah, Emmett Smith, I knew that.
Yeah,
he
that
has
sounds
over,
good.
he has over 18,000 yards, I think.
Yeah.
Something ridiculous.
Yeah,
He
it's
broke
an-
it when he was with Arizona.
It's insane.
The worst year of his career, and he's still breaking records.
Yep.
He also
Go
played
figure.
forever too. So
He
in my
did.
opinion, Barry Sanders is the greatest if he continued to keep playing. But topic for another day.
Yeah, another topic, another day. That's all fair.
One of those slow
that's
baseball days. We'll have to bring up Emmett Smith and Brett Favre.
that's actually Emmett Smith. I really want a Cowboys Emmett Smith jersey. Wicked bad.
It's
It's a Hall of Famer. There's no
nice
doubt.
collector's item to own. I tell you that much right now. I have a Roger Staubach ball, and I also have a signed Emmett Smith ball as well.
No way.
Dang.
Guys, I'm a Cowboys nut. Like, I actually about to ship off a Funko to Des Bryant and see if I can get him to sign it for me. So
Ooh, that'd be kind of
Yeah.
nice.
it would be nice. I love anything Cowboys related. I love trying to get like signed or anything kept like that. If we lock up Dak Prescott, I'd send off my jersey to get it signed, but we'll have to
Good
see
luck.
where that one goes.
So, speaking of the Cowboys, man, sorry they didn't make it into the playoffs. That's kind
Thank
of
goodness.
yeah.
Thank goodness. You know how bad? I don't want to see Andy Dalton throwing playoff footballs, dude. I don't think anyone wants to see that. I'm so glad that the Dallas Cowboys are not in the playoffs. I am ticked off. I shouldn't say this. I'm glad it's Washington. Out of the whole NFC East, I'm glad it's
Yeah,
Washington.
I agree. I
You
agree
know,
100%.
I'm glad it's not the Giants. Screw the Giants. I'm glad it's not the
Screw the
Eagles.
Giants.
Yeah,
You know,
screw the Giants.
Forget the Giants. Yeah, I
Yeah,
hate
so-
that team.
I agree with that
so,
statement a lot.
I just
yeah.
want to say I hated them before 07 and 11. Aaron, I don't know about you, but growing up in Western Massachusetts, it was either you were a Patriots fan or a Giants fan, and Giants
Jet
fans were
love?
the
It's so
literal
weird.
worst.
It's so
They were the
weird
worst.
how the Giants fans, like, I don't understand how in Western Mass there were so many. It makes no sense. But yeah, it was pretty unbearable out there, but the rivalry between those two teams. Ugh.
Well, that's weird because they completely disregard the Jets for everything and Buffalo. What I mean, but now I feel like you guys are more divisive as ever. Like I feel like Buffalo is rising through the ranks.
Buffalo is incredibly good this year.
Give me every inch of Josh
They
Allen.
might be the
Guys, we'll get
hottest
to
team in
this.
the
We'll get
league.
to this.
Sorry.
So, all right. So, last few weeks we've been talking about what we think is going to be our, who's going to be the teams to beat, and who do we think is going to end up on top at the end or during this playoff. So, what are our thoughts for these playoffs coming up? Because they're spicy. They're spicy, especially in the AFC. What do we think, guys? What we've had a few conversations about this already.
So, do you want to know like our team to beat right now?
Well, I don't. What do you guys think? What do we want to go off of here? Do we want to keep hashing out the who do we think is going to be in the NFC Championship, AFC Championship stuff, or
I can go
it's
round
up
by
to-
round.
Let's just give us what you got, Jacob. Give us what you got.
Okay.
Oof.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Jacob Fantasy Football expert guru time, whatever you want to call it. But it's okay.
No play.
Coming out of the AFC, I think there was 3 teams up until this week. And literally, probably up till like about 5 hours ago, I'm discrediting one of these teams now because I think this is a big deal, especially against who they're playing against. I would say the 3 teams out of the AFC was hands down the Chiefs, the Bills, and the Cleveland Browns. And the reason I say the Cleveland Browns is because they've been so incredibly hot as of late, and that carries over as much as you don't want to think it does. It really does. But they possibly might lose their head coach going into a game where I think coaching is everything.
No,
against
they
the
already
Steelers.
did. The special
It's
teams
confirmed?
coach. Yeah, special teams coach is going to be coaching that team.
So
Oh, that's big.
that is
Oh.
awful for the Cleveland Browns, and I think that most likely sunk the ship for them.
They might
Okay.
still have the check mark at coach. I still think Mike Tomlin's a boob.
I still
really?
think the Steelers
I'm not
aren't
a
that
Mike
good of a
Tomlin
team.
fan.
I
Stop,
don't think
dude.
the Steelers are that good of a team.
I
Ooh,
love Mike Tomlin.
I don't think the
love
Steelers are that
Mike
good of a team,
Tomlin.
but I think Mike Tomlin is that good of a coach.
He's good.
No, I don't. He doesn't do any of the drafting. He just tells the
He runs the play. That's all you need to do. Like, why is it the coach has to do it all? Like, if you're that good of a coach, like if you're like, hey, give me the players and I'll make them good, man. Round of applause to you, man.
No, listen. My point is that it's not just the drafting thing. It's that the Steelers have a very, very, very good system. Like they probably have the best system in the NFL, in the history of the NFL. Like they always have a good system. So I guess he's a good coach in the sense that he can manage a game. But like, I mean, the Steelers organization might be able to win that game next week just because of how good they are. In a vacuum, I don't know if Mike Tomlin versus anybody else. If I really trust Mike Tomlin in a big spot.
Yeah, that's
Especially
crazy.
if Big Ben starts kind of like, do you trust Mike Tomlin to get inside his head and be like, hey, this is your last year, go out and get one? Like, do you
I
really
100%
trust Mike
do.
Tomlin for that? Nope.
I would pick if I had to pick any coach to go out and coach one off game. Yeah, I'd pick Mike Tomlin.
Heck no.
Out of the current league, I'd pick Mike
Oh.
Tomlin.
Oh wait.
Oh, I like this. I
On-
like
At
Mike
on-field
Tomlin?
presence,
What?
at on-field presence, running a team, walking in and demanding what you need, I don't think there's a better coach out there. I may make an argument for Bruce Arians, but that's probably the only case I would say.
What?
You know, yeah, I'm dead
You're
serious.
like Mike.
Here's the thing.
Mike Vrabel's completely out of that.
Yeah,
mm,
Pete Carroll?
I love
Pete
Mike
Carroll,
Vrabel.
Mike Vrabel.
Okay,
Pete-
first off, I have no respect for Pete Carroll, but that's
I
just
need
me.
that popcorn meme right now. That's what I.
We're rabbit tailing. We're rabbit holing, whatever you want to call it.
Rabbit trailing?
Rabbit trailing.
we're
We're
cornholing over here.
I just think the Browns lost their edge in having some COVID issues right now, and I don't think I think they're now on the bottom half of the AFC. I'd be surprised if they get a win this weekend.
I
Well,
think
I
they can
mean,
beat the Steelers. I don't think the Steelers are that good.
I don't either.
No, the
I
Steelers
don't
are a bunch
either.
of frauds.
As we've talked about before, though, like it's a win for the Browns, the Cowboys. The Browns it'd be a win for the Cowboys too, but a win for the Browns to just be in the playoffs. Like
Yeah.
for them to just appear in the playoffs, and then if you tell me they appear in the playoffs and it's COVID-19 season, they have to face the Steelers 2 weeks in a row. They lost their head coach and possibly other personnel on the field and on the sideline, and they lose in a game. Like easy to write off.
If the Browns win this weekend, they have the easiest road to the championship.
Who
To
would
the
they
AFC
play?
championship. They either
Because
play
the
Tennessee
Outsiders-
or Baltimore.
Okay.
What
So-
do we're thinking to Tennessee's
Wait,
an
wait,
easy
wait.
team?
Yes, Tennessee's given up like 400 something points this year.
Wait, what seed is Cleveland?
Cleveland's a 6th seed.
7. I thought they
They're
were
the
7.
7th. I think they're the 7th seed.
So
Pretty sure they're 7th seed.
am I looking at this wrong?
Wait, hold on. Let me check.
Oh, they are the 6th seed. I screwed that
They're
up.
the
Oh,
6th seed.
okay, that's
Yeah,
fine.
I was like,
Yeah.
I'm their 6th seed. I was almost positive.
'Cause I was like, I thought they were
Yeah,
gonna
they're
have to
6th
face
seed.
the Chiefs.
Yeah, they're the 6th seed. So, in my opinion, I think Tennessee's one of those teams. I don't think Tennessee's beating the Ravens this weekend.
That is gonna be a close game because the Ravens are hot right now.
Well,
I
yeah,
think-
Lamar and Hollywood Brown,
Do you know they
But
ran
I-
for
A-okay, baby,
J.K.
A-okay.
Dobbins.
100 yards?
And J.K. Dobbins,
has been
yeah.
killing it. And that defense is no slouch of a defense. It's still, I think, third in the AFC in terms of points given
And
up.
I don't trust Tannehill to
Yeah,
take
that's
over
it.
a game.
I
I
like
don't
Tannehill.
trust him. I
And
don't
you-
trust him to take over a game, though.
So,
I think he
I
can
think-
manage it, not take over.
I think in the divisional round of the AFC, you're getting the Chiefs and the Bills versus and the Brown. I hope the Browns. I will hope as a fan the Browns win, but I think realistically it's going to be the Steelers and the Ravens.
No.
Really?
So that's what I have going into the divisional round of the AFC. Whether or not you guys want to agree or tell me different, you guys can go with that.
I mean,
think
the
just
only
be-
thing the only thing that I can agree with is that the Ravens look like the past few weeks look really good. Like
So does the Browns.
like really good. Yeah, but the Browns are at a huge disadvantage because of COVID-19.
I agree, and that's why I think they don't make it out of this round. I
No,
think
that's
the
fine.
Steelers-
But
Beat them.
I think the Titans are a way bigger threat than you're giving them credit right now.
I think the only reason we think that is just because of their scoring output.
I
Their
mean,
second,
but you have
their second. Go ahead.
you have a running back who has reached 2,000 yards in the season
Mm-hmm.
and scores.
They've done that before.
I know, but I don't know. I'm
Chris
just saying.
Johnson.
I just think that yes, they give up a lot of points, but
Can I
don't
tell
know.
you?
I think I trust that
formula
that
for
Titans
Super Bowls.
offense. Go ahead.
Defense wins championships.
I mean, that was put on display. Rams versus Patriots, 100%.
It's a tried and true formula for years. Defense wins championships, and yeah, you're right. I will not discredit the Titans are fourth in the league in scoring. We will not discredit the Tennessee Titans. But I think the Ravens have it here. I think the Ravens will take Tennessee down.
Where's the game playing? In Tennessee or in Baltimore?
I think it's in Tennessee.
It's in
They're the
Tennessee.
divisional- Yes, it's in
That's a
Tennessee.
game for me. It's a coin flip.
Yeah,
I
that's
think
how
it's
I feel.
I think it's a 50-50. Like it
Yeah.
could go either way. Because if the Titans offense is rolling, they're very
Either-
hard to beat. But the
Either team's
Ravens
beating the Steelers.
do that.
I'll tell you that right
Yeah,
now. Either
no, I
team's beating
agree.
the Steelers.
I
If the
agree with
Steelers
that.
pull off a win against the Browns. But I think if the Browns go on, that's the game to watch. I want to watch that game.
Yeah,
I
no,
just-
I'm in agreement with that.
I can't wait to watch Patrick Mahomes versus Josh Allen in the championship game, baby. Let's go.
Guys,
Oh.
watching Josh Allen in the last playoff game he played in was such a chaotic enjoyment because that guy, I could tell, like, as a rookie, I don't forget, he wasn't a rookie. As a quarterback who has had a lot of play experience, you could tell he was worked up.
Yeah.
Like he was so excited, but he was also like he had a lot of pressure. I mean, he was fumbling the ball, but somehow recovering the ball himself.
Yeah.
He he was like chucking it forward like Spider-Man. Like he was doing some crazy stuff.
You know, over the last 6 weeks, he's had better numbers than Patrick Mahomes.
He's been one of the hottest Actually, Brady statistically the past couple games has actually been I think the hottest.
Brady time,
Oh,
baby.
I can't tell you
No,
how.
we don't have to
Well-
get into the Brady stuff yet, but I think when you talk about that, he's actually been the best so far
Oh
in the
man,
past.
my
vintage
gosh,
Brady,
okay.
boing.
We'll yeah, we're already so AFC
No,
divisional
like,
round.
Tyler,
Statistically, they
it's a
back it up.
family show, man.
Yeah, AFC divisional round. I think we have Chiefs and Bills, and then what I want to see is Browns versus Ravens. What I think we might see will probably be Steelers versus Ravens. But that's where my personal opinion is.
That's a
I'll-
good
I'll-
division.
It's not. It's
rivalry
not
right there.
bad. Yeah, that's not a bad take at all.
Yeah. If you look at the NFC, I think the NFC is much muddier, and here's
mhm.
why. And here's why I think that game between Washington and the Bucks are a lot closer than what people might assume. Just because the Washington's defense is that stinking good.
They are good. They do have a good
Yeah.
defense, and they
Now-
do have the ability to get to the quarterback, which, as we know, is Brady's Achilles heel.
Yeah,
when he
That
gets
and the
guys in
Bucks
his
have a
face.
bad defense too.
Yes, they
Like-
do. But here's where
Oh, that defense is really bad.
here's where we miss I think they're the 5th worst offense in the league. Is the Washington football team.
The
Yeah, but if
Washington.
you're facing a bad
Yeah.
defense,
Yeah, they're facing a bad defense. They're the 6th worst. I'm sorry, the 6th worst scoring team in the NFL is in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Defense wins championships. Here's my takeaways. If Alex
Also helps
Smith,
to be in a horrible division
you're
too.
right. If Alex Smith cannot turn the ball over, it's a very winnable game. That's what it comes down to. Can they avoid the turnovers?
I just don't know if you can get down to fourth quarter Brady o'clock. I'm sorry, fanboy in me, and be
I'll
able
tell
to
you right
say, yeah, Alex Smith and his squad, they're gonna beat Tom Brady. Like,
It's not. Yeah.
Hey,
Can we
Could it happen?
we
Yeah.
pause
Is
for
it going
a
to
second,
happen?
though?
No. What? Go ahead.
and
What?
just talk about how Tom Brady at 43 years old threw 40 touchdown passes this year, and
Congratulations.
over
Bro.
4,600 yards.
Dude.
Like,
oh,
that
vintage Brady.
43 years old.
I
and you do
hate Tom
that?
Brady, but the man's greatest quarterback of all time.
Holy freaking crap! Like, I didn't think he'd put up a year that he put up this
No.
year.
greatest NFL player all time.
Oh my!
Yeah, you know.
Oh
what?
my goodness!
You know what? He plays the game really well. I'd have to chew on that. I'd chew on that statement. I'm not.
But I
gonna
think we
give
just
you
need
a
to
yes or
we need
no.
to sit on that just for a second. Like, that has to be pointed
Let
out.
take a moment of
let the
silence?
listeners soak that in.
And that Cam threw 8 touchdowns all year. Let that soak in too.
Okay.
All
On
right,
to the
now
next-
So, in my opinion, I think the Saints have the easiest game among all of the
Oh,
games.
yeah, duh.
Hands down. The Bears' defense is middle of the road. They're not as good as they were in the
And
beginning
they
of
have
the year.
Trubisky.
And they have Trubisky throwing the ball. Trubisky's played better as of late, but I don't think he's good enough to beat the Saints. So I think we'll see Saints Packers. I think that's an easy lock it in. The only issue I think the Seahawks will have is the Rams defense is very stingy. And they are one of the better defenses in the playoffs next to Washington. But offensive side of the ball, they're not firing away at all.
Saints have a sneaky good defense too.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I think out of the NFC, the Saints and if the Bucks can figure the defense out, are some of the better teams in that. Because I don't
Yeah.
think the Packers are that great. I think the Packers
Really
have
is-
a good offense, but that's it.
As far as like juicy quarterback matchups in the NFC, you have some high probability of having some really good ones in the championship. Like,
There's some
Yeah.
great
Yeah.
quarterbacks in these playoffs.
Yeah.
you could have like
Oh, yeah.
Rodgers versus Breeze,
Brady,
or Rodgers versus
Wilson.
Brady, or Wilson versus Breeze, or all that. Like,
yeah.
there's some really, or or you could have Jared Goff versus Rodgers or something like that, which
Yeah.
is like,
Yeah,
all
but
I think
I
dude,
don't
this
know.
don't even
everything in the
think about that.
NFC, right? The NFL absolutely loves this NFL playoffs right now.
But did you guys know? And this is something I think that's really cool. Is that in the wild card weekend, we have one of the highest scoring offenses going against the best statistical defense in the Rams in terms of scoring like points allowed. So just know I think that game could flip either way depending on how Russell Wilson plays.
Well, that's my thing with the Seahawks is I get on paper they had one of the highest scoring offenses, but they go through so many stretches in their games
Mhm.
where they can't do a thing.
They're either scoring
And
40 or they're scoring 16.
Right, and
Yeah.
it's so frustrating. And honestly, that's I love Wilson as a player, and I love his career. That's kind of been a knock on him for most of his career. Is he'll just go through stretches with his offense where nothing happens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I just never know what I'm going to get with like this
It
week. I don't
doesn't-
know what they're going to give the Rams.
It doesn't
Are
help
we-
going into the playoffs being behind on that.
Are we really
Yeah.
not going to talk about the Chicago Bears being in the playoffs? Are they that forgettable?
I mean, I don't think they're. I think
They're,
they're.
Hey, how many
they're
weeks did
very-
they?
they're
Whoa,
more-
whoa, whoa, whoa! How many weeks did they go undefeated? Come on.
They're more forgettable than the Washington
5.
football team at
Do you guys
7-9.
remember that? They were
I think
5
the
and 0.
Washington football.
They
Oh
were.
my gosh, I don't. I think for me, Chicago's a middle of the road team. I think they're not like impressive in anything they do. They're
No, they're
okay. They're okay. I think Washington has more excitement on that field than Chicago has.
Sure.
Yeah,
Maybe-
Chicago,
Yeah,
Chicago has
absolutely.
Montgomery.
No,
That's
that's
it.
true. Yeah, I mean,
I
here's the
forget
thing.
that Chicago has a football team, honestly.
Well,
The only
that's just
reason I
messed
remember is
up.
because I have family out there.
Here's the thing. I want to wrap up in the terms of I think he's going to make it in the divisional round. I think you'll see Packers Saints. I think by default, Seattle will figure it out and beat the Rams because the Rams cannot score. That's the only reason I think that's going to be the scenario.
Okay.
Defense can win championships. You have to see able to score on the other side of the ball. I do think the Bucs will beat Washington just because I think Tom Brady in the playoffs is a different animal than regular season. Almost like LeBron James. He kind of just takes a dump for 16 weeks and he's like, oh, pull my pants up, time to go to work.
Yeah.
Type of mentality.
Except Brady's dump was 40 touchdowns, but yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a bit of an overstatement. I don't think you mentioned dump for
but
16
what
weeks.
he's but off of what he just said, we could see a Tom Brady that we haven't seen since the early 2000s in this playoffs, and that's terrifying for anybody in the NFC.
Well, he has the firepower to do it too.
Hopefully, Mike Evans is okay. I mean,
Yeah.
there's no
even without Mike
substantial.
Evans.
I don't think
yeah.
you'll see Mike Evans unless they go to Green Bay.
He
Like,
won't
if
play
they go
this
to-
week.
If they
No,
go to
no
Green
way,
Bay at
no
some
shot.
Point, that's going to.
There's
be
no,
where
they don't
Rams
need
are
him
gonna
to
get.
though. The secondary's not deep enough to cover the amount of talent. That's the thing. Washington
Yeah.
hasn't played a very tough schedule, so I can't sit here and say like I think the Bucks beat them. I think we're going to see Packers Saints, and I think you're going to end up seeing Seahawks versus the Bucks in the NFC. I think that's the clean cut round that we're going to end up seeing in that. I'd love to hear what you guys think if anything's going to be different.
Yeah, Eric, we'll go you next. What are your predictions for these games?
I'm so wishy-washy. I guess I'm just an emotional basket case with these. So, as far as the AFC, I honestly AFC, I agree with Jacob. I'm in lockstep there. Like I want to see the Browns beat the Steelers. I think that they could because I don't know. I think the Steelers are soft. And they're soft in all the right places, but I just don't see the Steelers facing the not what I meant, but the Steelers are the Steelers losing 2 weeks in a row to the Browns. And I still think it's a win for the Browns to get into the playoffs. So I think you're right. Steelers versus Ravens, and then Bills and Chiefs. And boy, that Bills and Chiefs game, that's gonna be a fun game to watch.
It's going to be a really fun game.
The Steelers Ravens game, that'll just be like, I don't know, I think that'll just be almost like your average playoff game. Like it just will be like, it'll have all the good playoff stuff, but it won't even match up to that Chiefs Bill game. In the NFC, I think you're right. I think Brady versus the Washington football team could be an interesting matchup, but I still give the check mark to Brady and the Buccaneers just because, again, of that firepower, even though their defense sucks and they're going to need to figure some things out real quick, I think, on that defensive end. Because I just don't think down the stretch you can at any point get up against someone who can really chuck the ball like, I don't know, Breeze, Rodgers, Wilson,
Mhm.
and expect your defense to give up 30 points. Like as great as Brady is and as he threw 40 touchdowns, do you expect him in the playoffs to get in a shooting match versus Aaron Rodgers and just go toe to toe? I don't know if that'll go well. I think he could, but I think it'll be really hard.
Yeah.
So I think it'll be the teams we expect. And I did say a couple weeks ago, and I've kind of stuck with it, that the things I have said is that the Rams have a good defense, and even though they've lost a couple weeks, but I still like the Seahawks.
I think the Rams have the best defense in the league.
They do. They have the number one.
I just think Jared Goff is not the guy. And I hope, hey, here's the thing. I hope I'm wrong. I really do. But at the end of the day, that offense is so atrocious. I can only name one player on that offense that sticks out to me.
You got Robert Woods. You got Cooper Kupp.
But
Henderson, Akers.
They're all tied to Jared Goff.
That's
Man,
true.
I'm not gonna lie, Jacob. I agree because you know what? You name those names, Aaron, and I go, "Oh yeah, I remember those guys." That's about where I get with the
Yeah.
LA Rams. Like I don't
Yeah.
think Devontae Adams or
I also like the
Evans
Rams a
or
lot, so I
well,
follow them close.
you've always been a
Yeah, I'm a
Rams
Rams
fan.
fan. They're right up there, right just below the Patriots. for
Everyone
me,
has an
so.
AFC and NFC team. We all know it.
My NFC team's the Seahawks. I always loved Wilson. So
Well, you're
All
gonna be
right.
conflicted then if you got Seahawks versus Bucks. Aaron, what you got on tap?
For AFC, I'll just go through the wild card rounds. I won't look too much into the future. Colts and Bills. I think the Bills are the hottest team right now in the NFL. I see them absolutely just trouncing them. I don't think Philip Rivers stands a chance, especially because they're going to have to put up points. He won't be able to put up points
Yeah.
to keep up with the Bills. So I think they
Mhm.
walk through that no problem. The Ravens Titans. That's tough. It's literally, I think it's a coin flip. I think it could go either way. My gut is I'm going to choose, and I think it might be because I want to see the Titans win. Like,
Same.
I think I'm going to go with my heart a little more. I'd like to see them upend the Ravens because I just don't like the Ravens historically. So I'll go with them because I do think they have a lot of offensive firepower, and if it does go into a shootout, I think they could maybe get the edge on the Ravens. But again, that could go either way.
I want to pick the Titans so bad.
I do
really
too,
do.
but
I just can't.
I
My
respect your
heart is
decision.
saying, my heart is like, I
Oh, I
want
totally
to see
get
them
that.
win.
We've talked about that on the podcast, like how much I like Mike Vrabel. Like I totally
Yeah,
get you
and I
there.
like
Yeah.
the attitude of that team. Like
Yeah.
I just want to see them do
I
well.
wish it carried over in their defensive edge and like how
I
they
know.
play defense.
I know because I love their style of offense. It's smash mouth, run the ball, deep play action,
Mhm.
and it works. And
You would
so,
think their defense would translate better with Mike Vrabel as a head
well,
coach.
so they've had like a good defense with him
They
since
don't
he's
have
been a
they
coach.
don't
I
have
don't know what happened this
they
year.
don't have the personnels and they've had injuries.
Yeah, like this year was kind of an anomaly in his tenure. And the Brown Steelers, I know they're not going to have their head coach. I think the Browns are just a better team. The Steelers have limped their way into the playoffs. So even without their head coach, I think they can take the win.
I want the Browns. I do. I just don't. I don't know. Well, another conversation,
Well,
I guess.
We
Yeah.
will see. NFC, I'm taking the Bucks over Washington. Washington doesn't have an offense that could keep up with the Buccaneers. Even if Washington's defense does its job, I still think the Bucks are still going to score at least 3 touchdowns, and I don't
Yeah.
think Washington can score 3 touchdowns.
I
I
agree
don't
with
think
you.
they have that offense. Their Saints, I don't even think we need to talk about that. The Saints should just walk right through them. Not even going to give the Bears time of day. And Rams Seahawks, honestly, I'm picking the Rams just because I think Wilson's going to have a cold streak. I think it's going to be one of those games, and the Rams offense is going to do just enough to keep him in it. So I'm picking Rams for that game. That's mine.
Yeah.
Tyler, what are yours?
So this is basically just gonna straight up go off of who I want to see, who I would like, but it also goes off of firepower. And also, I've been saying this for like 2 weeks now, and I'm just realizing that it can't happen. I've wanted to see Chiefs versus Bills in the championship game. That can't happen. So my apologies. Let me fix that. Anyways, Bills, Colts, obviously. No, they can't
could it?
because no, Chiefs are going to face the
Oh,
Bills
yeah.
next week.
They
Yeah.
play in the divisional round.
Yeah.
After they sneeze on the Colts.
Exactly. So Bills. So in the AFC, Bills versus Colts. Obviously, I'm taking the Bills. Josh Allen is my man crush. Wednesday, Monday,
He really
Thursday,
is.
Friday, Saturday, Sunday, every day.
Gosh.
I love that man, and I'd love to meet him one day. Anyways, Steelers versus Browns. Definitely gonna. I'm picking the Browns, just because of how
Ooh.
hot they are.
Yep. They're hot.
They're hot. They're on fire right now. I think Baker. I honestly think Baker Mayfield wants this more than probably most people in the NFL right now. But I think come on, Heisman winner, first round pick. He was the first pick, right?
Yeah.
He was the number 1 pick, and he crapped out for 2 seasons. I think he really wants
the
this.
The pressure's on, though.
That's
when you play best, though. That's when quarterbacks play the best. Is when the pressure's on and they don't get paid a ton.
I mean,
And I will say he stepped up this year. He got him to the playoffs.
Yep.
So that's
And
a
let's
big
bring
win
Phillip
for him.
Rivers.
and look at who they're and oh man. So and then look at the team that he's on. The first time since 2002.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. Fans want it. Baker wants it. I think that the Browns are taking it. Titans versus Ravens. I think that is going to be of super wild card weekend, whatever they're calling it. I think that's going to be the best game to watch. By far, that is going to be the most fun game to watch, and I'm going to take the Titans over the Ravens, even though I honestly wouldn't mind seeing the Ravens go on, but I kind of also really want to see Lamar Jackson go one and done in the playoffs for 2 years in a row.
3.
Sorry, 3. No, he didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, 3 years in a row.
Yeah.
Yep. So, that's my AFC pick. My NFC, it's like Aaron said, there's no chance that the Bears are beating the Saints, so that's locked in. Saints versus Packers in the divisional round. And I really honestly think the Rams are going to pull it off against the Seahawks. If there's any defense that the Seahawks didn't want to be facing in the super wild card weekend, it's the Rams.
That's
of all the defenses in the NFC, that was that's the worst matchup they could have had.
I think that of all the games, I think the Washington Bucks game's a lot closer than I think we give ourselves credit for. But I agree with your statement.
So my thing is Jalen Ramsey is a stud for the Rams. Like he played, they had a stat up when he guards DeAndre Hopkins, who's one of the best receivers in the league. He owns Hopkins' life. He takes him out of the game. I think he had one catch for like 5 yards or something on Sunday. And the game earlier in the season, he had 2 catches for like 10 yards.
Yeah.
So, and he's going to line up with DK, take DK out. Who else do they like? You have Lockett, but then, okay, he's not your go-to guy. Like, I just think they can match up well.
Honestly, I don't think Russell Wilson can. I don't think that the O-line can keep Aaron Donald away from Russell Wilson.
I think the key, though, is here that they've only allowed 17 touchdown passes to be thrown on them all year.
That's crazy.
Crazy.
They've caused 14 turnovers. So that's how good this team is. But they are vulnerable in the run game. They almost average 4 yards a carry. Which 4 yards carries in today's NFL is almost like average the way the running backs are nowadays. But I mean, for me, as a team, I think that's a good stat to look at. So as long as they can get the run game established with Chris Carson early on, I think it's Seattle's game. If they have to throw the ball.
Something that the commentators talk about a lot, and this is something Tony Romo loves to talk about, is when you're in these important games, it's important for a defense or an offense to establish the outside run. Because the outside run's the place where you usually get your yards from, and you can throw the defense off of their balance. The Rams are so good at stopping them from establishing the outside.
Can tackle.
Exactly. The Rams are very, very good at that, and that's why we had, versus the Patriots, the lowest scoring Super Bowl in history, is because each team, you had arguably the best defense that year in the Patriots and the second best defense in the Rams, facing each other, and both of them could not establish the outside run. So I think the Rams are going to completely get rid of the running game, even though Seattle doesn't have that great of a running game anyways. I think that so that's my pick for that. Well, we're gonna. I don't want to stay on here for an hour. And then Washington Buccaneers, and I really do think, Jacob, I think you're right. I don't think that enough people are gonna are scared of Washington versus the Buccaneers. Because their defense is so good, and we've looked at Tom Brady all season. He's up and then he's down. He's up and then he's down. And lately he's going up. And we saw vintage Brady this past week. But we know that a really good defense can still stop vintage Brady. But I'm still picking the Buccaneers, but I do think it's going to be all that to say, I really do think the Buccaneers. No, I think it'll be a close game, but I think the Buccaneers are going to pull it off. So that's my picks.
Yeah. It's going to be a fun weekend for sure.
This is going to be a great weekend. I'm very excited to watch the game on one of the first games on.
Eric, did you want to get into the email?
I think we're letting Tyler do.
Yeah.
This
So
one.
all right. So this week we had a. So first of all, I want to start this off with Jacob. I don't know if you listened last week, but we had this conversation about Aaron brought up about getting rid of divisions and having it more be structured. It wasn't
getting rid of divisions.
No. Let me finish. Okay. To be for the NFL to be more structured towards what the NBA is doing.
We're gonna modify your position, Aaron, to suit our benefit.
No, I'm not. I'm not saying it. I'm not trying to set this up to look like a bad take. I don't want to do that. But not abolishing divisions, but to have it set up, because Aaron's gripe is that an 8-8 team, or whatever the Washington Redskins
7-9,
7-9 should not be in the playoffs. And he made a really, really strong case about it. And so one of our DM this week is from Jim Willison. We went to college. Not all of us, but 3 of the 4 of us went to college with him. He was my RA. Him and I led a small group together. So Jim, love you, man. Glad you're listening. His DM says, "Hey all, love listening to the podcast. Tyler's I love Saturday games cracked me up. I'm not sure why. I still stand by that. I love Saturday games. I think it's because I get out of work at noon and I'm like, oh, what am I going to do with the rest of my day? Oh, wait, there's football. Love Saturday again.
Never mind, go on.
I don't. But he says, but I wanted to pick up Aaron's take that the teams with the best record should be in the playoffs regardless of division play. And my problem with Aaron's take, and something that wasn't considered in the podcast, is that it logically concludes with ending the significance of conference play too. Ultimately, the same argument can be made for teams across conferences as across divisions. If the Browns finish 10-6, which will likely cost them the playoffs, why should an 8-8 Cardinals team make it over them? Why not just do the 16 top NFL teams for the playoffs? The top 2 out of 4, or 2/4, whatever he says, whichever makes sense, get a bye. I don't think Aaron would like that, and I wouldn't either. I agree with Eric that the complexity makes it much more interesting, and games are likely to really matter down the stretch. If you want to make the playoffs, beat the teams in your own division and give that 7-9 team a chance to win out over you. Anyways, let me know what you think. Maybe dissolution of divisions and conference is the way to go. I do think the reason behind the dissolution of divisions does logically necessitates dissolution of conferences, and can't wait for the playoffs. Me neither. I can't wait for the playoffs. What do we think about this? What do we think about the response? Because first of all, if I'm just reading this, some of it kind of doesn't make any sense. Not that it doesn't make any sense, but to me, I'm confused on if the Browns finish 10-6, which will likely cost them playoffs. Why should an 8-8 Cardinals team make it? Oh, it's because they're different conferences. Never mind. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, and they finished 10-6 and made the playoffs anyway. So
yeah, so that's fine. That's fine. So, Aaron, I'll let you handle it because this is directly at your take. So I'll let you go ahead and respond.
I don't. So and we messaged about. We don't have to spend too long on this because I know we want to get to like some of the other sports. But what I don't understand with him is I never mentioned that divisions like would be blown up. Like you can still keep divisions to have the division schedules. I'm just arguing for where it's the teams with the 7 or however many playoff teams there's going to be in the future. 7 top teams in each conference, top records make the playoffs. Exactly what happens in the NBA, where it's the top 8 teams in each conference make it. It's not based on who wins your division. Like there's divisions in the NBA. There's 3 per conference. Granted, division play in the NBA doesn't really account for much except for scheduling. But I think in the NFL, it's like I'd like to see just the top records make it in, because otherwise you're gonna have because this happened a couple times where you have a division winner who's 7-9, 7-8-1, and if the Washington lost, there would have been a 6-10 division winner who makes it to the playoffs, which is absolute booty when you have teams with a better record missing out because of that. And I mean, he said it would eliminate the need for conferences. I think that doesn't make any sense because he makes it sound like that's not possible in sports when the NBA has been doing that for years and it's worked out. Okay. So I don't think that's a really valid argument on that part. I just think it makes it so it's like, hey, no, like the teams with the best records, they should have the shot to go to the playoffs. Because it shouldn't matter like, oh, you won your division, but you had a crap season and you're a horrible team. Why are you going to make it over a team who finished with a better record than you? So like when the Patriots missed it at 11-5 one year.
Can
and
I?
then 8-18 made it.
Eric, before go ahead, Eric. Sorry. Okay, I'll go.
Tyler.
So just to ask you, you say that there's divisions in the NBA, but they don't matter.
Right.
What would the significance of division play be if we did this? Like, where is the division? Where is the spiciness of playing, a team in your division? What are you fighting for when you're playing a team in your division?
Well, the practical reason for divisions would be one, scheduling, because you'd still have 6 games of your year. So we know that 6 games of your year are already going to be allotted to playing divisions. So one, it helps just to make the scheduling easier for each team. And then, I mean, if say you have, because in the NBA, so in the NFL, it's a lot more likely, even if you were to do top 7 teams, top 7 records, because there's only 16 games, it's a lot more likely that you're going to have teams finish with equal records, in which you could then go to the division record to for a tiebreaker. In the NBA, you're not going to have that problem because there's 82 games.
Right.
The odds of a team finishing with the exact same record are incredibly slim when you
So
have
I
82
actually
games.
think that's you. So I think that's actually the biggest hole in the argument for divisional, getting rid of division, doing the biggest or doing like the best teams in the conference, because you're only and I was thinking about this. So like it's strength of schedule. That's where my issue is, and strength of schedule simply I mean by that like how it's formatted. So and I guess your rebuttal would be that you go best and then tiebreaker is divisional games, like you make tiebreaker divisional secondary, and I guess we can maybe flesh that out and work on that, because that kind of doesn't bother me too much as much as kind of the original plan, which was just best teams in a conference.
Mm.
Because essentially what you're saying is you're going to play 6 games against divisional rivals, but you could have a losing record versus your division but a better record overall, and that doesn't matter unless there's a tiebreaker, and that just bothers me. Like you could conceivably be 10-6 and lose all your divisional games and be better than another team that's 9-7 but
Mhm.
won more of their divisional games, and then they squeak into the playoff. Like, and it's
Yeah,
just
but
a
you
formatting
finished with
thing.
a
Like,
better record overall. So why
right,
wouldn't you get
but
in?
my problem with that is you're going conference wide, and not every team in the conference is going to face every team in the conference. That's the advantage of having 82 games in the NBA and having as many games as you have. I think it's 56 in the NHL. Is if you pick the best teams in the conference, um, every team face each other. Like, so basically, what you're doing is you're allotting everything to a conference format, but the conference isn't going to see all of its teams face each other. So
Okay. Yeah.
why would you use that as a metric and then continue to keep the division? You would almost need to do like a 16 game season, and they only face conference teams in all 16 games,
Oh, that
and they
sounds
have to face
terrible.
at least 2 from each some sort of thing like that. And that doesn't, no, like
So,
I like those Patriots Bills games, especially now, or those
so this is going to lead me.
Cowboys Eagles games. Go ahead.
Yeah, this is going to lead me to that point. You guys also think this is a business from marketing standpoints. Like there are games that sell out more than other games. No one's going to watch hey, I'm going to watch the Raiders versus the Miami Dolphins. That one-off game that's going to happen. No, they're going to watch the games that. Hey, guess what? Miami's traveling and playing the Patriots. They're going to watch that game. All right,
Yeah.
those are certain
Yeah.
games that they're going to watch over that one. So from a marketing standpoint, divisions make sense. It develops rivalries, things that carry over year over year. Also, from a scheduling standpoint, when you look at it, you're right. But I also look at the division as a mini championship. That if you can't win a mini championship against the other teams that are in your division, why can you why should you not be in the playoffs? So, in my opinion, when I look at I think about Seattle back in 2011 with a 7-9 Seattle team who went to the playoffs and defeated the defending Super Bowl champs, the New Orleans Saints.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, let's not
But
discredit.
but I see it as I'm in that case. I see it as that sucks that a 7-9 team even got in there in the first place to do that. Like I don't even think they should be allowed to step into those playoffs. Like
But
you
then they
have
step
no
in and
role.
won. I don't understand how
But,
though you can make that
but
an
I still don't
indictment
think like
on.
they
They
shouldn't be
were a
there.
good team. What other team? Okay, here's my argument though. What other team could replace them and do the same thing the Saints could have done? If we could say that, okay, let's look at the next
But a
year.
team with a better record that could have gone in there,
But you
they
cannot say they're a
deserve to
bad
have
team
that shot.
because the
They
next
deserve to have that
year
shot over
they
the
went
crazy
11 and
Seahawks.
5. The Seattle Seahawks
Okay,
went
but they
11
went
and 5 the
seven and
next
nine
year.
that year, and they made it to the playoffs. Like
So
they
at the
should never made
core,
it into the
that was a
playoffs.
good team that beat another good team.
So then
So
why didn't they have a better record?
I still think though that's the beauty of
Divisional
football is that you
play.
can have teams that aren't as good beat other teams. Like that whole underdog. Basically, what you're trying to do is eliminate
It's
all the possibility
marketing.
for
Yeah.
underdog stories, marketing, and then also tradition.
Because
Like the
why are we
tradition
allowing
of
a crappy team into the playoffs? Like what?
Who says that Washington's a crappy team? They have the best
They're
defense.
7-9.
They have one of the best defenses in the league.
you're
They have one of the worst
translating,
offenses.
but you're translating record to automatically.
Alex
have
Smith,
to be,
a comeback player. They're gonna they should rename the award after the man. It's in a playoff
They
game.
should. They should do that.
But that's my point. Like
Maybe
people
we
are
should
gonna
name
watch
the
this
this is
game.
Washington Alex
this is
Smith.
actually Aaron. You keep saying that the record is the thing that matters, and we've talked the past few weeks about how big the Steelers are, the biggest frauds in the league, and they were the last team to lose a game. Like just because their record is good, you think that they should be in the playoffs more than a team that lost more games?
Yeah, that's how that works.
Yeah, I know, but that's just, I think that's. But
You had more wins than them, so you get in. Like
I do have one more. I do have one more.
I think that's kind of dumb. If I'm being
I still
honest, I
think
don't
that-
like
So,
that
so
at all.
do you think a 6-10 team should be in front of the 11?
There's just
12
not.
and 4
There's
Steelers?
not enough. There's
If
not
their
enough
schedule was a
games.
cakewalk,
There's not, and also
There's
look at
not
this.
enough games.
The divisions help break ties. That's the biggest thing for it. Wild card seeding is way more important than divisional winners at the end of the day. And if you can't play well within your division, here's my thing. Don't get me wrong. If you're second in your division but have a winning record, but you have a crap divisional record, like you don't play the game well. Like you didn't play well against the two teams you play every year. Like the same two teams every year, and you can't
Plus,
split.
besides that, just besides this whole argument we're doing, which is a fun little argument, at the end of the day, typically the top four teams are four of the best five teams. Not every year, but not every year. Not every but typically
I agree with what you're
typically it's Manning, Brady, Big Ben,
saying.
and then someone else. The Ravens when they get hot. Like
Yeah.
something like that. In the NFC, those top four teams typically are top four teams. Like those other teams are
yeah.
just speed bumps that they got in because of the formatting. But I think that changing the formatting creates a whole nother list of problems and a whole nother list of question marks. And then you're playing this game where you're going to change the formatting every year and it's going to get kooky.
Here's my thing.
It ain't broke, don't fix it, baby.
yeah, I was gonna say if it's not
Yeah.
broken, don't
If we're
fix
gonna-
it.
if
I
we're
think it's a
gonna-
little broken.
No,
I do.
let me
I
give you
think
this
I think
caveat.
it's a little
And
broken.
your opinion on this will make me understand your stance. This one that came up unless this scenario happened. So out of the two teams that are above Washington currently, the Minnesota Vikings and the Arizona Cardinals,
8 and 8.
do you believe the 8 and 8 should be in there?
If they finished higher than 7-9, yes.
Because I would argue that Washington and Arizona
It's
are
so black and white.
That's one
Aaron, I
game.
love how no matter what opinion,
just-
whether it's
Is 8
sports,
higher than 7?
So do you think Arizona's a
Maybe
better
higher
team
than
than
7.
Washington? Is Arizona a better team than Washington?
Aaron, I love
Arizona?
you so
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, I don't know.
With a
That's really
healthy
true.
Kyler Murray, they're better than Washington.
Why are they 8 and 8 then?
Because
See what I'm saying? We can go back and
Kyler
forth
Murray
on
got
this.
hurt against the Rams. They would have beat the Rams.
Okay, so this is a great point, Aaron.
Hey.
I'm so glad you brought it up. Is it possible for the Green Bay Packers with Aaron Rodgers to be 4-0? Aaron Rodgers get injured, they then go, I don't know, 0-6, and he comes back and they come back 10-6. And they maybe not that. Let me do that better. Let's say they come back 8-8, so he misses 8 games. So every game that he's playing in, so he plays the first 4 games, misses the middle 8, plays the last 4 games, ends up 8-8. They end up winning the division. This is possible, by the way, because it's Aaron Rodgers and he does get injured and he's that good. They end up winning the division and getting in. With Aaron Rodgers, are they not a better team than a team that might finish 10-6 but be in a different division and miss the playoffs as a result?
With Aaron Rodgers, they'd be a better team, but they don't get into the playoffs. They shouldn't. They had a worse record.
So, but
What?
they're a better team.
What?
Hey, look at Washington. Hold on. And also, you said Kyler Murray got hurt.
There's a team with a 10-6 record. They they deserve to be in the playoffs.
Washington went through 4 quarterbacks this year, too. So, using the quarterback analogy, because my argument is this: Arizona, you don't have a good backup. Yeah, you suck. You're a terrible team. We don't have a good backup quarterback.
Okay,
That's
they
on
had a
you.
better record than Washington, though.
I was
so
going to
that's what
say,
counts.
Washington went
By
through this
one game.
carousel. It went through this carousel of
8 is more than
quarterbacks.
7. Like that gets
oh my
into like.
gosh.
So would you rather have 8 wins as a team or 7 wins as a team?
What's going to be
I'd
I'd
the
rather
best-
win
hey,
the division. I'd
hey,
rather win the
Yeah,
division.
win the division. Guarantee my spot.
But that's what I'm saying. Is it shouldn't? That's why I'm saying the divisions.
Win the games that matter.
But I still think if you get rid of the divisions, you have to change the whole formatting of how the
It screws up
games are played.
scheduling. It screws up. It's I promise you right now, tickets don't sell as much as they used to.
I see the teams with the most wins, they make it. That's how it should be.
Then
That's
you
the
shouldn't be
fairest way
playing.
to do it.
Then you shouldn't be playing two games against your division.
If the
every
Patriots
year.
are in the playoffs, you'd be
Every
singing a
team
different
you play.
tune.
Oh no!
No, I think
absolutely
Aaron's-
not.
I'm just joking. I'm
Don't
just
do that.
joking.
No,
I'll get
absolutely
Tiger on
not.
that one.
I'm
Aaron's
just,
gonna-
you don't
If the
want
Patriots
the
went in at
Patriots in the
7-9 to the playoffs, I'd be like, that's bullcrap. They shouldn't be in the
Hey,
playoffs.
I was saying the same. If the Cowboys made the playoffs, I'd be like, this is the worst thing ever. But you know what's cool about Washington? They get to keep the draft stock being in the playoffs at 7-9, and they're in the playoffs too.
Yeah. Well, I have to give you this, Aaron. Whether it's sports or movies, you are consistent and you stick to your guns.
I
Yeah.
just
True.
see it. I just see black and white. I don't know.
I-
Like that's
I
how I see it,
understand.
man.
Hey, maybe they should have a wild card and play off for the last spot. if it's that close.
wild card.
You know,
I
we're
like
going
that.
that far.
The NBA did the. They did a
you know
play-in
what the
game.
NFL would
Yeah.
call it? Super duper wild card weekend.
Roger Goodell would be printing money at that point.
Uh,
Players would be suffering. Roger Goodell's happy. That's all.
well,
that matters.
anyways, that's that for the. We'll get into the NBA real quick. I'm not gonna go into my fantasy rant just for sake of time.
No,
Screw
do it.
fantasy
No.
basketball.
I want to
I
hear.
hate fantasy basketball.
Come
All
on.
right, really
Come on,
quick,
do it.
fantasy, and part of this is I'm Jacob. I played you last week, and I'm really pissed about this because I hate our freaking method of we can only pick one game that our players play. Because Jacob, you got so freaking lucky last
Hey,
week because the
I'm
game I
using
picked
big
for
brain.
Luca. No, the game I picked for Luca was his one dud where he only got me 14 freaking points, and that cost me the entire week. And he went off the rest of the week. Oh, and by the way, the game I have Steph Curry. The game he scored 62 points in. Guess which game I had him picked for? Not that one. So I didn't get the points for that game either. And then guess what? Kawhi Leonard decided to take a loading break on one of the games that I picked for him, so he didn't play either. So you know what? I am pissed at fantasy basketball. Screw you, Carlos, for setting up this system like this, where we can only pick
Call
one
us
game at a
out.
time. Because I don't know freaking when guys are gonna play because they just step out at the last second, and then if it's a
Yep.
dud, it screws me up for the whole time. So I'm pissed. That's
I'm
my
gonna give you
Hey,
a benefit of
good.
the doubt.
Hey,
because
good thing it's not 16 or 16 weeks.
Yeah.
You have a good
yeah,
amount
right.
of time, bud. You're
That's
good.
true.
I didn't play Christian Wood last week, and that was a bad mistake on my part. I would have destroyed you more if I did. But nonetheless, I do agree with you. I played fantasy basketball back in my high school senior year, and the way they did it was they took every score of all the games they played that week, and that was their final score. So basically, you wanted to play players who played the most games sometimes because they end up scoring the most points, unless you were LeBron James, Carmelo Anthony at the time, or those high tier players. So everyone does it different. I'm getting used to this. Honestly, I'm just picking the players who play the worst defenses that day.
Yeah,
Like, that's
well,
all
that's
I'm
what I
going off
did.
of.
And then freaking Luca decided to his one game this year where he didn't have a good game, and I'm like, are you kidding me?
Hey,
and if he just scored his projected value, I would have won.
Me and Tyler's got a nail biter going on this week.
Dude,
So.
our matchup is really good.
Yeah, we got a
I've
good
seen
one
that
going on.
at the beginning of the week. It was like a 60-40 or like
It's
a,
like
a 70 a
54.
65-35,
It's
and now
way closer now.
we're at a 59-41.
Christian
so.
Wood sucked. Well, I'm not going to say it. He
Dude,
sucked.
Alex,
Lollipops?
what is this guy's
Popsicles?
name? Shy Gilligus.
The Oklahoma City
Oh, he's good.
guard.
Dude,
Yeah,
yeah,
is.
no, he wasn't good for the game. You picked
No,
him.
he
though.
was-
Pronouncing
He
names
scored
my
18
forte, not
points.
yours.
So I'm just getting used to it. The NBA, I'm learning a lot more about the NBA doing this though, so it's actually been beneficial for my own
It's good.
sports takes. But holy
good
crap,
year.
this is a gambler's like dream the way this fantasy league is set up. Because
It's
Oh,
seriously
yeah.
because you're just like,
Oh,
I
yeah.
hope they score a lot this game, and then
Yeah.
they don't, and then you see the next game they put up like 50 points, and you're just like, well, screw me, right?
Well, yeah, that kind of stinks for me because
Hey, I hope the playoffs isn't. Is the playoffs designed that way? Because I feel like the
I don't
playoffs.
know. Carlos
Ah.
or the guy who runs it.
No, it's too late now. There's no walking back that one. Give
Hey,
us a synopsis, Aaron, of the NBA.
We still
though.
love you,
Give us-
Carlos. We just
give us
don't
a
know
quick-
what we're doing.
I will.
I can't-
Quick
I can't-
synopsis.
I can't wait for Carlos to come on here, man.
Yeah, we'll get him on eventually. But
Oh,
anyways, for the rest of the NBA stuff, Hop off my boy Steph, everyone who is hating on him, because guess what now? The Warriors are 4-3. They're on a winning streak. He's averaging 32 points and 6 assists per game. And the other night, he dropped 62 points on 8 of 16 shooting from the 3-point line, over 50% total from the field. That boy is balling. So I don't want to
Ooh,
hear
baby.
anything about how he can't carry a team or how he's washed up, because that dude's averaging 32 a game, number 2 in the league behind only the great James Harden. He is the best point guard in the league. How about them apples? And so that's all I'm going to say on Steph Curry.
I love it. I love it. Give me
Good
more
job,
passion, Aaron.
Like,
I love
I'm so
it.
sick of everyone like, oh, see, Steph, can you carry a team? As if they don't remember that he did the couple years before KD even went there to get them to the finals 2 years in a row. People forget that. The kid can ball, best shooter of all time. So I don't want to hear any of that nonsense.
Come on,
Yeah,
baby.
I think the sports gods are hearing your rants because Stephen Curry went off, right? And I just got the Bleacher Report notification. The Houston Texans just hired Nick Casario as GM.
Really?
So maybe there's some development going on there as far as like
Hey.
rebuilding the team around
There we
Watson.
go.
Maybe we
That's
won't
what
have
they
to
need to do.
hashtag free Watson. Maybe we can
I will
hashtag
say this
rebuild.
though. Kyrie Irving has a better field goal percentage and 3-point percentage than Steph Curry this year. But that's just my opinion.
Okay, it's
Oh,
been
well, that's not
7
really-
games.
stats.
Oh, we
The
needed
Nets
to give you
also
a
lately, my take on them initially, they actually haven't been clicking that well the past couple of games. They've been kind of struggling overall.
It takes
Jacob-
time.
Jacob. We never gave you a chance to defend yourself on your Kyrie Irving take.
I just here's where it is, and here's where it boils down to. Kyrie Irving, since college, has been one of the best passers to go into the draft. So when he came into the draft, he was one of the people who could run an offense and also score. And it was something at the time when you looked at point guard back in 2011, you didn't look at them as like, hey, I need you to drop 30 points a game. That wasn't how you looked at
Sure.
a point guard. You needed someone to run the offense. So Kyrie Irving coming in and saying, hey, I can drop 25 a game, and I can also pass the ball. It kind of excites Cleveland. And now on top of that, he became an all-star for 3 straight years. I think he was there for 6 years. He was an all-star for 4 of them. And he has one of the best turnover differentials. His plus and minus is through the roof, which is a huge stat in the NBA. If when you're on the court, it's whether or not you make your time matter. That's the important thing. And Kyrie Irving, when he's on the court, he makes it matter. So I just think for me, he's one of the best pure shooters. Now you can make the argument, yeah, Steph Curry he shoots it when it matters, but dude, Irving just scores on will. Like on will. Whether he's driving the hole, whether he's putting up a spot up 3, or whether he's running a pick and roll offense, like, dude, he just can just generate points. So that's why I think Kyrie Irving kind of sets it above it all. That's where is my guy.
Yeah, I mean, he generates points, and then Curry averages more points than him every single year. So yeah, no, it makes sense.
Aaron, you're really spicy today.
Jacob, I will say though
It's a
that
numbers thing. What number's higher? That's the better number. I don't know. Like I don't.
Black and white, man.
Jacob, I will say though, before the basketball season started, and you said that, I was like, "You're nuts." Now that we're 7 games, we're in week whatever of it. That might become true this year.
He's playing really well. Honestly, it all comes down to health.
No, he's having a great year this year, and he is. I'm never saying he is a phenomenal player.
Oh yeah,
he's one of the top tier talents in the league.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about that. I'm not disrespecting him in any way. He's great. I just think
he just
looking at the body of work.
He doesn't turn the ball over. That's like it's not an important stat for point guards. Like he does not turn the ball over. He does not give it away, and he runs an offense really well. The dude's stupid. He's dumb as bricks. Like, okay, at the end of the day, it's fine. Can you shoot the basketball? Can you run an offense? Yeah, let's pay you millions. That's what you're here to do.
Yeah,
I can't wait for him to shut it down late in the season because of some injury. Can't wait.
Well, that's what he did last year.
He just cannot get hurt. That's what it boils down to. He has not played a full season, whether it's been barring like injuries or stuff like that.
It's been a long time.
Since 2016.
Yeah, it's been a while since he's played a full season.
So I'm very curious on how this year. I'm very curious how this year looks for a lot of NBA players. But 2017, 2016, long time.
Yeah.
Aaron,
so
you
Celtic. I have a Celtics take.
Okay, go ahead.
You teased the Celtics take
Yeah.
week, and I wanted to know.
This has been something I've been since watching the first game and watching through the whole season so far. I know we had talked about Tatum's the guy, right? We were talking about going into this season. He's going to be he's our star player. He's our stud. He's taking that next step. and he's certainly played really good this year. But what I started noticing as I'm watching these games, a lot of these games is Jaylen Brown really kind of dominating and taking over these games. And I mean, I know Tatum just had a big game last night. He put up 40 points
Oh,
and
yeah,
he shot
baby.
really well. It was one of the most
Mhm.
efficient games I've ever seen him play. But Jaylen freaking Brown has all of a sudden elevated, and there's some games where I'm like, I don't. Is Jaylen going to be the better player? Is he going to be our guy? Because then I started pulling up their numbers, and I see this is Jason Tatum's stats: 26.2 points per game, which is really good. 7 rebounds per game, 4 assists per game on 46% shooting. Not bad. Then you have Brown though, averaging 26.9 points per game, 4.6 rebounds, 3.1 assists, and 58. He's shooting 58% from the field, which is stupid
That's
phenomenal and
really good.
efficient. That's insane to be doing that. That's 7 games so far in the season, and he's shooting 58%. The dude is efficient as crap, and he's a phenomenal defender. He's one of the top defenders in the NBA. He gives 100% effort. And so obviously they both played great, but Brown has seemed to elevate his game even more from last year. And like I said, there's a lot of the games this year where he's been the dominant player from beginning to end. And so I'm starting to think like, man, is he equal footing with Tatum, or does he have the potential to maybe bypass that? And if so, if a blockbuster trade is to go down this year, because we've talked about how Boston still needs that, they need something to happen roster wise to be able to make it out of the East, to get past the Bucks and the Nets down the line, because right now they don't have that ability.
Mhm.
But if a blockbuster trade is to go down, we were always saying, oh, it's got to be Jaylen Brown. It's got to be Jaylen Brown. I don't know. Are we willing to now maybe put Tatum? Like, hey, we got Brown who's playing really well, scoring just as much, shooting very efficiently. Maybe we could put Tatum on the trade block, and maybe teams would be maybe more enticed to give us like a stud top 10 player or something like in a deal. I don't that's just a thought that's been crossing my mind
What's
as
the
I've seen.
contract situation between the two?
I'd have to between both of them. Actually, I think they might be.
I thought Tatum signed,
I thought Tatum signed too.
if I was
Yeah, me
remembering
too.
correctly.
I'd have to see. I'd have to see.
But while
Jason.
you're looking,
Yeah, I'll look that
um,
up real quick.
my opinion
He
is
did just sign a big contract.
if it gets you a championship within the next 2 to 3 years, I'm in.
Whatever you
Yeah,
gotta
he
do.
signed a 5-year, 195 mil, and then
I'd be
Jaylen
surprised to see
Brown.
that go. Just saying.
I
But
know that, but I'm just looking right now because before I've always heard that if someone is going to get traded, it's got to be Jaylen.
Well,
He's more expendable. And then seeing them play this year, so Jaylen Brown has a $115 million 4-year contract that he signed 2019.
oh
So
wow.
about a year and a half
So
ago.
out of all of them, that's why probably Brown's more expendable. And plus, if Brown's playing this well, it's only going to entice the organization to look at him and say, "Well, he's not our guy going to the future. We could probably trade him because he's hot right now."
Yeah, that
And
part
so you
does
get
make
value
sense.
for him.
Mm-hmm.
I don't
That's
think
just,
I don't think Danny Ainge is trading either one of them. I think
Yeah, it
in the
could be.
real world, I even heard something today from a couple different sports pundits that Danny is holding on to his players, and that's kind of a Danny thing at this point. And he's committed to those young
I don't
players,
know.
and
We
that's what he's going to
can't.
do.
We're not going to be able to do anything this year. I don't think we can with our roster get out of the
But
East.
don't you think the East is pretty weak?
The Sixers honestly kind of scare me because they're off to a really good start this
They
year.
are
So
off to
you
a
guys
great
are sitting
start.
at a 4
They're
seed.
off to yeah, which is like what we were could have finished at last year. That's the thing is I just see us being the same team as last year. I don't
Can
see us
they-
getting through right now.
Can they get better in 1 to 2 years? And in 1 to 2 years, does that mean the East has also gotten better?
I think
So are
the
they
Nets,
getting better?
I think the
Are they
Nets
getting
could be
better at
even
the
better
same?
next year because I think they'll have a year to gel together.
Give me 2 tradable players right now that would make this team a 2 seed.
That would make them a 2 seed.
If they could trade for right now that realistically could happen.
James Harden.
So if they could receive players,
Yes.
is that what you're saying?
Yes.
realistically, well, they'd have to give up the whole freaking nest to get James Harden.
And
Yeah.
I think that
It's
that
not
damage.
realistic. I would
Keep
Do you
him
think that
away.
would put them?
Sure.
Do you think that would put them at a 2 seed if they gave away the whole nest?
No.
No, it wouldn't. It would to get James Harden. Because the Rockets have said they're pretty much asking for everything.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't make sense. I don't know. I still would really love to get if we were able to somehow keep Jalen and Jason and work to get like a Drew Holiday over here,
Ooh.
or like an Oladipo. I would love that. I think
More of a situational, rotational guy.
Well, I think so. Oladipo, I mean, he's a former All-Star. He came off injury, but I think if you have another top scorer like that, or Drew Holiday, get him. He's pretty, in my opinion, a much upgraded Marcus Smart. I think you could have a chance because he's a guy who can get you 24, 25 a night as well, and like 6, 7 assists. I think that could put you because then you could have either Tatum or Brown sit, and you still have like one of them paired with a Drew Holiday. I think that would be really, really big. Or if they got, I would love to see it, is Gobert, Rudy Gobert, the big man for the Jazz.
Do you guys feel like you have like a big man problem? Is that where it kind of like boils down to?
So we got Tristan Thompson this year, and he's a great rebounder, and actually he's been phenomenal at rebounding and playing interior defense, which has been great for us. But the dude offensively, I mean, he had 0 points last night. He can't score.
He's bad at scoring.
Whereas Rudy Gobert, defensive player of the year, gets you tons of rebounds, and he can get you like 16 a game.
But you're only going to play.
We do have the money.
He's a 10-minute guy though.
But I would take that though with his production in those 10 minutes. I'm taking that like all day. And we have the cap money with how they restructured the whole Gordon Hayward deal to actually be able to sign and trade.
Yeah, the old sign and trade.
Yeah, so we actually have like that would be really clutch because he can give you offensive production and play good defense.
Yeah.
Okay,
so I think those are a couple options that they could do.
Just curious.
That's my thoughts. I don't know if you guys have any.
So
I'm about to go on it.
Well, my thing is, you don't think with Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum performing the way that they are this season already, you don't think that as they stand right now, they could be a number 2 seed?
So from what I've seen so far, last night was probably their biggest win as far as point differential that I've seen this year.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, all their other games, I mean, they're 4-3. So
okay,
they've been losing games, and their wins have been very, very close. So even with them both playing at a very, very high level, they've lost 3 games, and they've had very close calls in those 4 wins outside of this one last night.
So you're saying that they playing at a high level and it's just still not enough.
It's still just like, yeah. I think they play very well. I just like, and this is part of like my next rant. If you look at the thing, is because I just think some of their other role players just they can't do anything. They get no freaking production. Like, can I go on a rant real quick? Another one.
Go ahead,
Aaron. You're on fire today.
I cannot stand Daniel freaking Tice and Marcus Smart. And I know people love Marcus Smart, but before we talk about Daniel Tice, that dude is an oaf and does not deserve to be on the court. I've seen so many plays where he gets a rebound and he's 2 feet from the rim with no one on him, and he just can't put the ball in the freaking hoop over and over again. This happened in the playoffs all the time last year. And I'm just like, why are you here? Or he's playing defense on people and they're roasting him. They're backing him down, scoring. It's like, you're our defense.
Oh, Aaron's mic cut
guy,
out there.
and dudes are just like scoring on you left and right. You're getting out rebounded. You're missing bunnies, and he can't hold on to the ball. He gets stripped all the freaking time. I can't stand it. Like the dude's trash. We don't even need to get anything for him. Just don't let him touch the floor. You can let him walk out the doors. I don't care. The dude sucks. He's just, for some reason in Boston, we love big, tough white guys on our team, and even though they suck. I don't know why Boston is like that, but we need to stop that. We need to embrace the freaking change. All right, get the white dudes out of here. They can't play. Anyways, I'm getting carried away.
Whoa. My goodness.
Marcus Smart, he has heart, and I'm cool with that. But him on the offensive end, whenever I see him jack up threes for no reason whatsoever, they'll be swinging the ball. It'll be beautiful, perfect, and then it hits Marcus Smart, and he decides to hit a three with two guys in his face. And then when he misses it, he acts like he's surprised. Like, dude, you shoot 30% from three. Why are you surprised? And I don't understand why he thinks in his mind he's Steph Curry every time he touches the ball, and why he needs to take that many threes. Oh,
I hope
sorry.
I'm half as passionate about you. Unleash Taco. That's all I can really say. And talk to me in 4 weeks.
I like seeing Taco just on there because he's so freaking tall. It's just hilarious.
I think he's only played like 2 games.
Yeah, they barely throw him in at like
Aaron,
garbage time.
I kind of have a question for you. Would you rather have Daniel Tice or Kelly Olynyk?
Bring back
Honestly,
Olynyk.
Olynyk can shoot.
No,
he's a wing. Yeah. He's a wing boy. Bring him back. I love Olynyk.
Olynyk can stretch the floor. He can hit mid range and he can hit threes. Tice can't even put a bunny.
Like, that's a good point.
McDermott. Bring Doug McDermott in if you want to see a white boy shoot. He is good.
We need a big man who can actually shoot the ball. But like, that's what we need.
Frank Kalinsky.
Dang,
he looks like me.
We got Aaron going. Holy smokes!
Aaron,
I just sat back and enjoyed the show, man.
Yeah, I'm just like those two players. Like whenever I see them touch the court, I fill with rage. And I just question
like
why
my life goal is to get those two people to listen to that rant. Like I really want them to hear that.
Makes a lot more money than me, so
just
I don't think
clip it and start tagging it on TikTok. That's all you need to do.
Hey, we already got the Fire Danny in Danny Ainge's head, so.
True.
Well, we don't need to talk about the blowouts. We can shelve that for another day. I just noticed that lately there's been a lot of blowout games this season, but we can get to the NHL before we close up.
So I just want to tease. I just want to tease the NHL. Maybe we can talk more about it next week, but let's tease it. So it starts next Wednesday. There's a bunch of matchups, and the Bruins actually start playing next Thursday. They're going to be probably without Brad Marchand and David Pastrnak, both recovering from off-season surgeries and injuries and various things. And just this part real quick, Brad Marchand skated on the ice in how physical that game is in the playoffs with a sports hernia that started in his left abdomen and stretched into his left groin, right abdomen.
Yep.
Like, holy smokes. And
my boy.
the guy scores like crazy. And he was in excruciating pain. There was an article, I think
Have you ever had a pulled
it.
groin? Have you ever had that? It's
never
a
had
miserable experience. It's so bad.
So
anyways,
my question is, as far as the Bruins go, is what's their identity this year? Because you're going to have Brad Marchand at 100%, and you're not going to have Chara.
Your identity, if you're the Boston Bruins, is Patrice Bergeron. Bye-bye, Chara. I love Chara. That's okay. But Patrice Bergeron has been deserving of this captain title for the past at least 6 seasons. The dude is an absolute staple in Boston sports. He is a leader on that team. He is a producer in points. Our identity as fans and the Bruins' identity as a team is in Patrice Bergeron. It sucks without Chara. Chara is a great defenseman. He's really, really good. He has the fastest slap shot. He can check people. You don't mess with Chara.
Bro, he played in a game with his jaw sewed shut.
Exactly.
It's one of the most BA things I've ever heard.
It's amazing. But am I sad to see him go? I am. But am I glad to see Patrice Bergeron get this opportunity to lead his team? Absolutely. I mean, come on. The dude is an absolute stud. I love that guy. So I don't think this is even a little tiny blip in the radar. This isn't even a speed bump for the team. They are gonna push forward so well with Patrice Bergeron as their captain.
I think they're gonna hurt, and I think they're gonna feel his experience, just the experience factor of having a guy like that. And I do think it's a blip as far as fans go.
Experience factor. How long has Patrice Bergeron been in the league?
That might be fair. Okay, so all right, fine, I'll give you that. But like, is anybody better than Chara on a penalty kill? Is Chara like the guy in a penalty kill?
I mean, that's kind of. I mean, that's honestly kind of.
Is he the guy in anything though anymore because of his age? Wasn't he kind of like barely able to move?
Yeah, he was starting to really. And let me just tickle your sad bone for a minute. You know, the captains,
What?
the captains
Tickle away.
of our the captains of our sports teams were for championships were Chara, right, and then Kevin Garnett, and then David Ortiz was the leader of those teams, and Brady. And as of the end of December, they're all gone.
I have a
That doesn't
question.
bother me. That doesn't bother me. Patrice Bergeron is the man. I am so glad that he's going to be the captain. I'm fine with it. All right. I can't even. There's no comparison. I was going to say if Brady left and somebody else came in and there was just no speed bump at all, then we'd be happy. That's
I
what's
do
going to
think they're
happen.
going to suffer
I'm sorry.
on the defense. I think their scoring's going to continue, but I think they're going to suffer on the defensive end.
I really don't think so. I don't think a guy skating for 36 minutes a game is. Well, he was playing probably less than that. Is going to impact the team that much on defense. They're fine.
Man.
They're
Go
fine.
Stars. Go Stars.
Come on, dude. Get out of here.
But I am excited to see it, and I'm
Go ahead.
excited to kind of learn this with you.
I did have a
Tyler, you know
question.
way more than I.
Aaron,
do.
what do you got?
So you mentioned the captain thing in the NHL. Is it? Because I don't know much about it, but is there only one captain then? Because I know in the NFL there's multiple captains.
There's one captain and then an assistant
Three
captain.
I thought they were all. I thought the cats are considered like alternative captains as well.
Or assistant alternative,
So
maybe.
there's one main.
There's
Yes.
one guy.
Captain.
There is one guy with a C on his jersey. There's one. Everybody. There's
Mhm.
two other guys with an A.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Oh, I didn't know that. In the NFL,
Any-
I think is it just one guy with a C? Because I know there's multiple captains for NFL
Well,
teams. But I don't know how they're.
There's
'Cause, like some of them have the C.
All I know is when I was in little football league, we had 3 captains.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So in the NFL, you can have up to I think it's 4. I think typically they always have 4, but
Yeah.
in NHL you can have up to 5. But those people are the only people who are allowed to talk to the officials. Like so you can if you're not designated as a captain, like and you want to talk about a rule that happens, or they call a penalty or some kind of that, they can't say anything.
Yeah, so we'll just tease the NHL for now. But Tyler, I definitely know way less than you, and I'm gonna try and watch as many Bruins games as I can this year and try and learn. As far as,
Something
their
I've
identity
learned.
and stuff like
Something
that.
I've learned is that if you have a busy lifestyle, if you just type in on Google, what was the score of the Red Sox game, Bruins game, Patriots game, Celtics game, or whatever your home team is, they have this little window that you can click and watch a YouTube recap of everything important.
Those are really great.
Everything important that happened in that game, and that's where I find myself with every Celtics game this year. I've watched every single recap that they've had, and I will probably most likely sit down and watch every single Red Sox game live because I am a weirdo that likes to watch 3-hour sporting events. And then I also watch the Patriots, but I'll do that with the Bruins as well because of how many times they play. But anyways, yeah, watch the recaps. You'll learn a lot about your sport and your team.
Cool.
Aaron?
All right. Well, thank you guys for listening to us today. As always, just want to remind you guys where you can find us. Look up Under.500 Podcast. We are on Spotify. We are on Apple Podcasts. We are on YouTube. So please, please, please look us up. Give us a subscribe. Follow us. Let your friends and family know about us if they're into sports. We'd love to be able to reach out to them. Follow our Instagram, Under.500 Podcast. Look us up there. On Facebook as well, Under.500. What we do is we post content throughout the week of news events that are coming, kind of polls, get your idea on things that you can interact with. And we also have an email, the Under.500 Podcast at gmail.com. Email us your thoughts, things you want to hear
Carlos.
spoken. Yeah, yeah, that's where you send them, Carlos, in case you're listening right now. And then we'll look over those and we'll shout you out when we talk about those topics. So yeah, that's where you can find us, gentlemen. Another great week. Jacob, thank you so much for being
Always
our
a
guest
pleasure.
again today. We love having you on. That's why we brought you back.
Yeah.
I'm excited for football season. I'm excited to talk football whenever I can.
Amen, man.
All right.
Love
Well, having said all of that, we bid you listeners adieu, and we will see you next week.
All right,
Have a great
everybody.
week, guys.
See you guys.